Iran refused to stop enriching uranium during negotiations with the United States of America, thereby derailing any future nuclear deal. At the same time, both sides indicated that they are ready to continue diplomatic contacts aimed at finding a solution that could reduce the risk of military escalation from Washington. But at the same time, the United Kingdom urgently redeployed its air force to the Middle East after receiving a signal about preparations for a strike on Iran. The Prime Minister of Israel is urgently flying to Washington on Wednesday to meet with Donald Trump. This meeting was scheduled for February 18, but Netanyahu requested to meet a week earlier. And this is a very important point. In this episode, I'll explain why, but that's not all. Sources stated that negotiators from the United States made it clear to Iran exactly what the attack would look like if the negotiation process fails. And so, in Tehran, they tried to maneuver by stating that Iran is ready to provide the United States with a certain document guaranteeing that they will never produce nuclear weapons. Well, we'll discuss the latest news around Iran in this episode. My name is Alexei Pechi. Let's talk about this topic together. But before we start, I ask you to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, write any comment under this episode, and subscribe to my Telegram channel, Pechi News. The link to it is in the description of this video. So, American negotiators reported that Iran refused to stop uranium enrichment during negotiations with the United States this Friday, thereby disrupting the entire negotiation process. At the talks held on Friday in Oman between high-ranking representatives of the United States and Iran, Tehran confirmed its position of refusing to stop enriching nuclear fuel. At the same time, both sides made it clear that they are ready to continue diplomatic contacts in order to prevent a war from breaking out. And, as reported by Iranian state media, Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi told the American side that Iran does not intend to stop uranium enrichment or to move the relevant facilities outside the country. Thus, Tehran rejected one of the key United States demands on this issue. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi insists that uranium enrichment is an inalienable right of Tehran, but he is ready to reach some kind of agreement that should reassure the United States on this issue. Supposedly, Iran is ready to stipulate in the agreement that Tehran will continue to enrich uranium, but will not go further toward creating nuclear weapons. Further quoting Araghchi, "Enriching uranium is our inalienable right, a right that must continue. Even bombings could not destroy our capabilities. We are ready to reach a reassuring agreement. And there is a sense that the Iranians themselves understand how this could end for them." That is why Abbas Araghchi stated that Iran would strike United States bases in the Middle East if American troops concentrated in the region attack Iran. He emphasized that this should not be regarded as an attack on the host countries of these bases. For example, Araghchi appeared on the Qatari television channel Al Jazeera the day after Tehran and Washington pledged to continue indirect talks on the nuclear program. Although Araghchi stated that the date of the next round of talks has not yet been determined, United States President Donald Trump has already said that they could take place early next week. And here it's important to note a very significant point regarding the timing of this meeting. Mark the beginning of next week. The fact is, according to Axios, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has expedited his visit to Washington and is expected to meet with President Trump as early as Wednesday to discuss the talks with Iran. The announcement of the urgent visit came the day after Trump's envoys, Stephen Witkoff and Jared Kushner, held talks in Oman with Iran's foreign minister about a potential nuclear deal. And obviously Netanyahu was briefed on the substance and subject of these talks. Trump himself stated that very good talks between the United States and Iran took place in Oman on Friday and claimed that Iran's position on the nuclear deal had become more favorable than it was before the 12-day war in June of last year. But Netanyahu is not thrilled about any of this. He fears that the United States might reach a narrowly focused nuclear agreement with Iran that would not take other Israeli interests into account. For example, the reduction of Iran's ballistic missile program and the elimination of proxy forces in the region. So Iran doesn't support groups like Hamas, Hezbollah, or the Houthis. And the thing is, originally, Netanyahu planned to meet with Trump at the White House on February 18th. And that's why some really important issue will be decided, because basically he's coming to Washington a week earlier. And I think that only after this meeting will the Americans meet with the Iranians. And here's another interesting point right after the talks with the Iranians in Oman. Trump's special representatives, Jared Kushner and Stephen Witkoff, visited the aircraft carrier United States ship Abraham Lincoln on Saturday, which is stationed in the Arabian Sea near the coast of Iran and could become the main strike force in an attack on Iran. And it's important to note that Kushner and Witkoff visited this aircraft carrier together with the commander of the United States Central Command, Admiral Brad Cooper, who will be in charge of the attack if it happens. And, as stated by the White House, the purpose of the visit to the aircraft carrier was to make it clear to Iran that Trump has other options if the negotiations fail. Here, let me remind you that Trump threatened to strike Iran after the United States increased its naval forces in the region, demanding that Iran abandon uranium enrichment, which could lead to the creation of nuclear weapons, as well as stop developing ballistic missiles and supporting armed groups throughout the region. Tehran has long denied any intention to use nuclear fuel production for military purposes, but nevertheless refuses to abandon uranium enrichment. In June of last year, the United States bombed Iranian nuclear facilities, joining the final stage of Israel's 12-day bombing campaign. And at that time, Iran's response included a missile strike on an American base in Qatar, which maintains good relations with both Tehran and Washington. And today, Minister Araghchi stated, quote, "In the event of another United States attack, the consequences will be similar. It will not be possible to attack American territory, but we will target their bases in the region. We will not attack neighboring countries, but will target American bases located on their territory." There is one big difference between these two things. But it's important to add here that, as reported by Axios, United States negotiators made it clear to Iran exactly what an attack would look like if the negotiation process breaks down. And at the same time, Donald Trump himself stated that negotiations require time. The United States is not in a hurry, but is also ready to strike. And I'll end this episode with a quote from Donald Trump. "You have to take a position. We have plenty of time. Remember Venezuela? We waited and weren't in a hurry. We are having very good negotiations with Iran. The results are today. With Iran, well, we will meet again at the beginning of next week. And they want to make a deal, as they should. They know the consequences if they don't. If they don't make a deal, the consequences will be very serious. So we'll see what happens." I'll leave it at that. Share your opinions and conclusions in the comments below this episode. Friends, if you found this episode useful and interesting, you can support our work with your donation or by subscribing to sponsorship on YouTube. Links and details are in this video's description. Any support is appreciated. That's all for now. Take care. Goodbye.